evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Speedrunners Arena. For anyone who's sticking around from previous races, I don't know how we're going to top that Heartstopper, but we're going to try. And for anyone who might be just joining us, you missed out on a Barnstormer. Let me tell you, if you get a chance to go back and check out that VOD, I highly encourage it. My name is Zero Lane. I'll be doing the commentary. Red's behind the scenes, and Fate's going to be doing the tracking, it looks like. Big shout-outs to all of them. Big shout-outs to everyone who's in the chat, who's joining us today, and especially big ups to the actual stars of the show. We've got Nasarius versus Hacksaww, and because it's Hacksaww, I got to do his intro for him. Ho! We'll get some USA chants going on later on. I'm excited. I got to watch most of that last race, and I'm already amped. I'm already excited. I'm already squirming in my seat. Oh, this is gonna be good. How is everyone out there doing today? So I see you, Inverell. Jeff, that was your name, right? So this has been quite a tournament. Twists and turns, some great wins, some great competitions. I can't say enough positive things about it. I noticed in that last race we had Ice Beam was speed locked, so there was one item in one location that was going to get us to Dragon. Oh, I'm a little bit glad I didn't have to run that seed myself. Just saying, just saying. Fate, I see you too. Oh, fantastic. Not to go too tangential here, but I did have to work some overtime this morning, but thankfully it was not enough to keep me away from here. Get to hang out. Zero. Oh, you misspelled my name. I get to hang out. I'm very excited to hang out. I'm very excited to see what happens in this next race here. Who else? We've got a couple of minutes, I think, and I already have the schedule up, so I can see what else is happening today. It looks like right around midnight Eastern time, Old Man Sunshine and Red Key Hunter are going to be button heads. I might still be awake at that point. It's nice for me. I'm on the East Coast, so I get a little bit of a lead time. Don't have to be up too late. Anyone out there playing some of that Animal Crossing? I played a bunch of it back in the day, the original one. And it's always exciting to see the new versions that come out. I tried the mobile version as well, and that was actually a lot of fun and a lot of interesting ideas. I have not had a chance to try the new one, but I'm going to, I assure you. I'm sure some of you out there opted for the other direction, went for Doom Eternal. We got some pretty hype new games coming around. Lots of cool stuff to play. So, oh, you know what I don't have open is the bracket. So I genuinely do not remember who I might have predicted in this one. I'm not sure what outcome I foresaw. Goodness knows, it has not been very accurate so far in general. But no worries, that just means it's more exciting. Remember to hydrate, everyone. How many people we got checking it out today? There was quite a crowd in here a little while ago. Everybody's got their own schedules and stuff. It's sort of a miracle that we can pull off a tournament when everyone's got time commitments and other things that they need to prioritize in their lives. So I got to send another big, huge, amazing shout out to the people who organize and run this, to Jay for being a bit of the brains behind it, for everyone who's lending a hand along the way. wonderful stuff, and because of them, we have something incredible to do in the comfort of our own homes, but also something to look forward to. You know, a little healthy competition never really hurt anything, right? It's just fun. We had Everald in the last race, and during a conversation with Everald at one point, he definitely told me that this is like a fun thing to do. He's not worried about the tournament aspect of it all, and it's like that's a great outlook, in my opinion. Just jumping in feet first, just to have a good time. I was sort of rooting for a third game. I'm always rooting for the third game to come up, though. It's just more exciting that way. A bit of suspense. It looked like we might have one, but that last game was already at palpitations. Whew. Let's see what other fantastic moments we can create in the future. Stump sticking around in the chat too. Hi, Stump. And Jonas. Hello, fresh commentator. Yeah. A bit. I think Nightwolf had something to do, or just, I think he had already done a couple of games in a row. And even just doing one game of commentary takes a lot more out of you than you think. I was talking to a friend of mine about audio and setups and nice microphones and headphones and all that. We just got to talking about how using your voice is a lot more taxing than you ever really give it credit for until you have to do a lot of it. Waving to Stump. Zero's 100% stressed out when he races. It gets my nerves going too. It gets my heart rate up. I don't know what it is. You know, I'm sitting there like I'm playing a video game. I've played this video game many times. I played it when I was younger. It holds a lot of appeal to me. But the adrenaline starts to kick in for some reason. Maybe a bit of stage fright almost. Is that a thing on Twitch? Huh. Yeah, Stump. Especially that second one. I would say. I didn't catch any of the first one, so I don't know how much I can say on that subject. But that second one, the back and forth, and when the audience was figuring out where the items were and who was making what decisions, it was ups and downs. It was convoluted. It was wonderful. What even are feelings? All right, looks like we've got gameplay coming up. I imagine we're trying to get this rocket off the ground sooner than later. We're running a little bit behind schedule. Thankfully, we're not going to be running into another game immediately after this. My special co-host, Slightly Squeaky Chair, with me today. Yes, good lucks and have funs. Good luck, have Batman. To both of these runners, I believe this is just match one. So we're going to lay the groundwork. We're going to see what both of these players are capable of, and we're going to have to be on the lookout for when their next rounds come up to see what else they got for us. Boy on scree, Alkun scree. Passages from the Necronomicon displayed for everyone. Oh, I'm excited. Literally on the edge of my seat, waiting for that start button to get mashed. Is this it? I have a feeling the countdown's going on in the background. And we are off. Another big hello and welcome to everyone who might just be joining in as well. You're here just in time for the very beginning of Nasarius versus Hacksaww. These are some talented runners. They're going to give us a show. I can guarantee that much. For now, we're going to be having a standard opening heading down to that morph ball area because, well, it's what you do, isn't it? At some points, I lamented that there wasn't slightly more interesting ways for the game to start. But I think a little bit of restriction helps things have a sense of cohesion. I think there are ways of kind of making the game much more convoluted, and that can be fun, but I think we're in a good spot right now. I go back and forth on the argument pretty constantly, though. Let me just make one small adjustment for my own sanity. Got it. All right. There's that morph ball pickup. So taking all bets on what said the wake-up missiles. What's in the ceiling. Yeah, Jonas, that's an excellent point. Could just skip the opening part of it. That's possible. I think it is Spring Ball, Morph Ball and Spring Ball to start. Some interesting movement options. Just to finish my thought from a second ago, though, I think they're already working on ways to start the game in different places, and I think that was actually the update that caused a little bit of trouble with having different items at the beginning, so maybe it's all tied together. Maybe it all makes sense in the end. Just some regular missiles in the ceiling item, but still, early on in the game, if you can grab this ammo, you grab this ammo. Behind the wall, some power bombs. So let's see if there's an early checkup to Billy Mays. Spring Roll always messes me up because I forget about it, and I have that tendency to just hold on to the jump button when I'm mockballing at all. I don't think it's necessary to do that, but it's something I always do, so I end up turning off Spring Ball if I get it too early on, all that kind of stuff. Both players opting to go straight up, and it paying off immediately. Immediately. But wait, there's more. Some extra power bombs. Those will come in handy. That is a good visit to Billy Mays right there. Now we're going to see if the item density stays this packed early in the game. This might be quite a jet of a seed. Hopefully we get a bit of a twist just to add just a little bit of drama. But like I was saying, it's good to have this first game to sort of set the tone, see what the gamers are capable of. So if we have a pretty standard sort of routing, standard sort of game, that might be nice. And then when we start throwing in the twists and turns later on, we'll see how they adapt. Nasarius opting to take those extra power bombs and immediately going into the middle room here, just for some more power bombs. We'll see if Nasarius is going for full meme route. Nope. Nope, and right back to the elevator. Hacksaww looks to be doing just about the same thing. Probably not going to opt for the meme route either. Nope. A little bit of extra ammo always makes the meme route a little bit more appealing. It was Varia early in the last game. I did notice that even when I came in, both of the players already had it. Oh, my goodness, a grappling beam. That could represent a lot of different things. That puts Shack Tool in the logic. Maybe we can hope for some Varia there. We've already got just about every option under the sun. If we get Space Jump anytime soon, then it's really not going to be very clear where the players are supposed to go. Going back in for the climb. Sorry, I was trying to get those flips on. Neither player opting to check the climb supers. It's a difficult location to route in terribly naturally, but it has a pretty low frequency of having something important because you have to find something else important along the way before you can even collect the item. This ends up being a last location a little bit more often than others, I would think. Certainly is for me. Oh, an excellent point from Benergetic. Technically, we're already out of logic. Ice Beam? What is happening here? That's my other co-host, slightly barking dog. We're already having demands from the chat to know who rolled the seed. Oh, little hiccup. Hashtag not fate. Good looking out. So similar play from both players so far, going to BT. It's a little bit hard to justify too much of a deviation from some of the standard stuff that you end up doing. I mean, the 1 out of 10 times it really pays off, it feels nice. You feel really smart. Nice pack of super missiles just in time. Got a great collection of items to work with here. I imagine we're going to be seeing that sweep through Brinstar pretty immediately. We are a little bit short on E-tanks thus far. Hacksaww opting for bomb is actually going to be going back out to the ship area, looks like. Nasarius going to be heading for Brinstar. Is Hacksaw's play here possibly to go immediately to wrecked ship? It is possible to get up there. Yeah, possibly to Gauntlet, possibly going down the top of Red Tower from here. Well, staying at ground level. Busting on through. So we'll see if we get a moat item check really quick here. Oh, we're going to have to keep track of what Hacksaww is up to. We've got the back of Gauntlet preview coming up. Regular bombs and another super pack. Nasarius, I think possibly glanced away from the screen a little bit too quickly and didn't quite remember what was up there. And Hacksaww, indeed, going down the top of the Red Tower. I didn't notice if he had ducked into the moat room at all. So yeah, if anybody noticed if Hacksaww went into the moat room and saw the item. Supers at moat, okay. Thank you very much, Eden. So we got some pretty big divergence in routing here. Let's see what pays off. Is standard routing going to be the way to go in this one, or is the slightly different plays going to be the way to go? First E-tank at beta power bombs. So that's nice to see. High jump in the mock ball room. Another interesting item just out there for everyone to grab. Just gonna grab some more supers. I'm flipping back and forth between these two screens like mad, trying to keep track of what everyone's thinking. Ammo and ammo. Just more ammo. The front here, let's see. Alpha Power Bombs as speed booster. So both players actually rewarded with a piece of technology. Speed booster probably a little bit more crucial in the long run, but high jump boots has certainly saved plenty of players plenty of time, especially when you grab it this early and can get away with fewer jumps to reach different objectives in different spots. So Nasarius is going to backtrack to grab those. I'm wondering at this moment what's going through Hacksaw's head about where to go next, and possibly wondering if his opponent did the same thing. Hacksaww is going to be heading straight back up, and this is possibly just a play directly into wrecked ship, which will be a little interesting because Fantoon, can deal a bit of surprising damage if you don't have a really solid strategy. E-tank at the Edakun super door. I'll be ducking inside to take a look. Just some regular missiles for the trouble. Hacksaw's got these missiles. Might be able to finagle an early check. I'm not sure if it requires space jump to check that item above him. He does have speed booster, which he, I think, could technically use. See if there's an early check at all. Though this blatant of a play to wrecked ship, you're probably not bothering with previewing anything. A couple more supers for the trouble. Going up to the top of the Edakuns for Nasarius. Pardon me. Trash can. Cap tanks incoming. Hacksaww just blazing through the ocean. Trying to get into that wrecked ship as soon as possible. We've got the one side check we can do on the way to Fantoon. I imagine Hacksaw's got to be hoping possibly for just another E-tank to be there, and there's a pretty good chance that that's exactly what's going to be there. This early side check, just some more regular missiles, but those are still very useful for this situation going into Fantoon. Can't particularly rely on supers for this fight in the way you can with a lot of others. A plasma beam at Mission Impossible. Can anyone spell the words free and then seed in a row? This is a pretty low health seed so far, but a pretty high impact one. My goodness. So I've said it many times, wrecked ship is pretty notorious for basically only having one useful item somewhere in it. It's either 1 or 0, and that's good. Thank you, Steel. Welcome to my TED Talk about spelling. Nasarius, I think that was just another power bomb pack. Grabbed it just there. This Fantoon fight might be a little bit tense. Hacksaww playing conservatively. Taking a bit of a body bump right there, but managing to harvest those flames pretty effectively. Not taking too many chances. Bit of fire damage. Space jump! What is happening? Who rolled the seed, and can they roll my next one? Kid in a candy store over here. Goodness gracious. So, yeah, that's true. Everything we're talking about is in logic at this point. We've got the space jump to get up to gravity suit. We've got the speed booster to check the top of climb supers as well. I think Hacksaww just unleashed a super missile, possibly a little bit too early, and I know I've fallen for that one as well. Doing the jumps over the flames is a bit tough. The gravity suit is really coming in clutch at the moment. All right. Hacksaww not really in danger of dying just yet. Nasarius trying to hack his way through the gate. Manages it after a couple of shots. Excellently done. Any more big payoffs here? Okay, just ammo. I feel sort of a little bit better that we're not just seeing every single item handed on a silver platter. That's true, Jonas. And, we definitely saw a lot of health in that last run. So Hacksaww coming up on the end here. 99 health to his name. Just got to stay low to the ground. Can't afford to be hit by the opening eye because that deals just an incredible amount of damage. That should do it. All right. A second E-tank for Nasarius, just as Hacksaww finishes off Fantoon. We'll see where the play goes from here. I mean, I'd be giddy with delight if Hacksaww decided to go down Forgotten Highway. I love that area for all of its uselessness. There are a lot of power bombs in this seed, it looks like, as well. And Hacksaw's going to have to decide where to farm for important items now. Iris has got a pretty significant edge with the find of Space Jump. So we'll have to see something like Charge or Varia for a wrecked ship to kind of be the place to be. Nasarius heading up, so we're going to see that collection of items as well. Going to be finding a speed booster, I believe it was. A right side check, just some regular ammo. Hacksaww opting to start collecting a bit. You spend the time to find an ammo pack, and you're early enough in the game, you might as well just pick it up while you're there. The trolliest work robot in the world! I love those walking dumpsters. Red's trying to take the credit. Oh my goodness! Does anyone remember what I said not too long ago? Well, Red, you definitely got your wish. It looks like we'll be able to pack this one in pretty quickly. I said these are some talented players. They're going to be able to take advantage of these things. So what does Hacksaww even do from here? Skipping over the save, looks like we might be in for a couple of more checks while we're still in the ship. And these blobbies just do a pretty good amount of damage, assuming you don't have suits. And they take a ton of damage. Nasarius having plasma and space jump is going to give him a time advantage in covering the ground that Hacksaw's already done. I imagine both players in the back of their minds are hoping for a bit of more health to show up. Hacksaww going with ammo strats on the attic enemies. Trying to preserve supers a little bit, I think. And it looks like Hacksaww accidentally missed the enemies on the right before trying to open that door. It'll cost him a little bit of time. It seems very likely that this is going to prompt Nasarius to go straight to wrecked ship as well. Having a little bit of button trouble with Nasarius, it looked like. And Hacksaw's still taking the time to check things out. I mean, if what I said earlier holds true, then we're really going to only end up with the Varia suit coming out of this wrecked ship. I sort of hope I'm proven wrong on this one, and we get like 2 or 3 interesting things. We're almost running out of cool stuff to find. Sky item and E-tank. Good timing. Both players going to get to check the middle item at just about the same time. Just a regular missile pack. Hacksaww not bothering with bowling. No bowling check so far. So I'm torn. Part of me would very much like for these players not to be punished for, trying to take advantage of a fast seed. But part of me thinks it would be a little bit funny that you got handed Varia suit and then skipped out on... I don't even know at this point. There's already speed, there's already ice, there's already both suits. Yeah, I think we're done with all the interesting items. We'll just call it a day. We'll just say done right now. Charge would be handy. This early on, we could start ignoring ammo pretty quickly. Hacksaww taking a look in the front of Gauntlet, it looks like, and Nasarius will be coming up on the Fantoon fight. Gonna be a little bit more, what is the word I'm looking for? A little bit more confident, I think, having that many energy tanks. Goodness me. Remember to hydrate, everyone. Shack Tool is indeed in logic. With the grappling beam. And looked back just in time to see that pickup. I'm at a loss for words at this point. I mean, you might be able to take this seed, take this race, and show it to people who've never seen this sort of thing before, and have them imagine that the game is easy. I can assure you, it tends to throw you a curveball much more often. Hacksaww, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up those regular bombs, and quite possibly the super pack on the other side. If this is Hacksaww routing into Brinstar, we'll be finding plasma, we'll be finding high jump, we'll be finding space jump. We are down to just wave and screw attack are kind of the only 2 things that aren't accounted for. And they are not entirely necessary for the game. We are also missing the 3rd piece of microwave. That's the only note I can give at that point. We are missing X-ray scope still. My goodness. So there's a kill on Fantoon. Good job, Nasarius. Hacksaww going down this elevator. Gonna be getting down to Brinstar. I'm gonna take this opportunity again to make sure that you go and follow both of these runners. Big shout outs to them. They are fantastic. Big shout outs to Redemption and Fatefire. Make sure to follow them as well. We have some links available to those spots. Hacksaww, seeing those high jump boots, both players are probably pretty impressed at how quickly things are developing here. Ammo. And we did see this check before. This, if I remember correctly, this is Varia right over here? No. Incorrect. Whew. I don't know what to say. There's not much speculation needs to be done at this point. Both these players are going to find their items, and it is going to really come down to technical skill. So even though we saw a really divergent route right at the beginning, it sort of worked perfectly for both players anyway. Okay, that's right. Left side supers was Varia. Speculate on boss order. I think... Okay, that is actually a much more interesting question than I originally thought. So I figured it's just... Oh, Hacksaww with the fall. A little bit of a time loss. I figured it was just Kraid, and then down to Ridley. You could go down to Ridley first. Maybe Kraid for just a couple of those checks that are a little bit... Okay, so I'm just going to go with it's Kraid, then Ridley, then Dragon, and then back. I think that would be the way I would go about it at this point. Hacksaww picking up that plasma beam. Space is indeed somewhere around here. It's the below Spospo spot. Let me see that pickup for the E-Tank. And Hacksaww getting here with gravity and speed might take this opportunity to check Waterway. And that looks like that is indeed the plan. Now, this is a bit of an out-of-the-way check usually. And the one time it's really, really convenient to give it a look happens to be the time when there's not very much of a chance that you're going to find anything important back here. Hacksaww getting a bit of frozen enemies in the way. Just a trash can for the trouble. And it's extra health for now, so I can say that much. Nasarius getting back through Red Tower. Imagine we'll be seeing the play straight down to Kraid. Will we see an X-ray check at this point? With this fine of a loadout, is there a reason to do that? Nasarius making sure to pick up that power bomb. Very, very important. Hacksaww remembering that regular bombs are available. Something that I forget on the regular. Indeed. Nasarius saw the back of Gauntlet, and it was not terribly impressive. We're going to be missing out on Charge Beam, quite possibly. So that might hamper Nasarius a little bit. That's an excellent point. Nasarius is probably going to be focusing on ammo a little bit more still. Going to be making some checks along the way. Hacksaww might have a bit of an advantage in that regard. Hacksaww as well not opting to go into the X-ray room, and I'm pretty confident I wouldn't want to either. Nasarius bombing open the tube, but going forward already. Hacksaww skipping the spacer check. I think Hacksaww might be in the mindset of there is no reason to stop or go out of your way for anything at this point. You will want a bit more ammo, I think. Maybe. To deal with Ridley and Lower Norfair? I'm racking my brain. You can hear the cogs grinding and burning against my skull as I'm trying to figure out who would do what in this situation. Where would I be? What would I be doing? I'm going to have a bit of a high five here. Yeah, Hacksaw's taking the time to also check the item. Those regular missiles, I'm going to opt out of those. So anyone who's joining us now might think that these runners had done exactly the same thing. I can assure you that was not the case. I just now realized Hacksaww did not find space jump. I think it might be part of the curse of finding a bunch of really good items early on. Is you get incentivized to play a bit more aggressively and skip out on out-of-the-way things a bit, because the possibility of finding something important is going down and down and down. Going to be going to the dance, unfortunately, just a frame too early. And Hacksaww just a frame too late. The dueling proms going on. Nasarius is taking care of business. Hacksaww right behind. This is pretty fantastic. Fantastic stuff. An E-tank for their troubles, which is not an unwelcome sight. I imagine both players are going to be picking that up. So yeah, earlier on I was commenting that it might be nice to have a pretty straightforward kind of matchup for this first match, just so we can really get the sense of what the players do when things are going pretty well. So this is coming down to technical skill. But I think it's got to be just polar opposite for the second game. It's got to be the trolliest seed we have seen to date. That's what I'm hoping for. So, well, I'm going to take myself another peek at the schedule and see if they've already decided when the next one's going to happen. It's going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow evening. Same time slot. So be on the lookout. We're coming back to see if we can punish these players for the blasphemy of having too easy of a seed. Yep, each player only missing out on one sort of key thing, one useful piece of technology. I think we're going to be seeing side-by-side runs through Norfair. Nasarius with an inkling that there might be something at ice with the acquisition of Speed Booster. We'll see if we see a play down to Croc. Hacksaww going straight for high jump. So yet another divergence at a point where you wouldn't really think there would be one. This is fantastic. This is what racing is all about. Oh, wow. The decision's still paying off. Hacksaww not even going to look in the actual high jump room. Is that a sign of confidence? Or is that just an oopsie? I mean, we're literally, I think, down to wave beam being the only thing not really accounted for. The check at the Bubble Mountain, just an ammo pack. Some more E-tanks is just about the only thing that might be appealing. So then Nasarius is turning around and backing out. Going to be following along a bit more behind where Hacksaww is at, but Nasarius might be thinking the exact same thing. There's not a reason to go out of your way for anything. There's not a reason to do maybe even some of the simpler checks to avoid door transitions or just obstacles that are going to take a few seconds here and there. Hacksaww going in to the acid room without space jump. Looks like we might just be seeing a gravity jump. Yeah, easy enough. We're going to see if Nasarius takes the time to go into the high jump room proper to see what is there. Okay, we will get a peek at that. Hacksaww missed a bit on that first jump. It's a little bit tricky. Just some regular missiles for Nasarius' time. That was just about the perfect angle. One straight line up for Hacksaww. Well done, well done. Hacksaww going to be taking a save. This low on E-tanks going to lower Norfair, that can be a little bit dicey. Remember to stay hydrated, everyone. I'm trying to do my best as well. I think this is a really fun way to round out the evening. Just an E-Tank Croc escape. Hacksaww going to be going into Lower Norfair without Space Jump and Screw Attack, which is we are all pretty well aware. Very, very useful items, especially in Lower Norfair. Nasarius making sure to pick up some extra power bombs along the way. Hacksaww is going to have to get through this room using power bomb strats. Right, this room in particular is the place where Screw Attack really shines. Boo, Hacksaww does indeed have regular bombs, so a lot of the general getting through Lower Norfair is going to be a little bit easier. Not going to have to rely on power bombs quite so much. Now open it up, and I believe high jump is enough to get up this side of the wall. Just a little bit of tricky timing. Trying to visualize that one slightly bigger crack on the left pillar there as the place to jump from, and it's just a little bit off from there. We're still talking a handful of frames, but we'll see if Hacksaww ends up resorting to maybe a spring ball jump. All right. Fantastic work there. Nasarius taking a bit of a reload time. Quick hop over that last golden pirate, and we're into the rising acid without space jump. These golden pirates still going to do a lot of damage if they get in the... Hell's going to have to take things pretty slow, and especially when we encounter the red key hunters. Having plasma beam is definitely huge. Nasarius making their way into the entrance to Lower Norfair. We'll be hanging out, seeing a lot of very similar gameplay, but also dissimilar gameplay at the same time. The different item loadouts making the movement in down here a little bit varied. Hacksaww going with the save below the red key hunters. I think that was pretty well expected. Hacksaww still blasting through with power bombs. You do need a few. And hopefully we do not run into a situation where Hacksaww specifically needs a power bomb and has used them all up. Thankfully, the pillars in the escape room can be destroyed with regular bombs, so we won't see an accidental soft lock there, which would just be heartbreaking. Nasarius taking the short hop into the rising lava room to make use of that space jump. Up and under. And maintaining. All right. Ninja pirates. Hacksaww trying to bust out the charge beam tech. And this pirate is having none of it. It is shaping up pretty close. And so interesting with how much divergence there's been. Nasarius moving forward into Firefleas to check that bottom item, being rewarded with an E-Tank, which is quite possibly exactly what he was hoping to find. This is a lark. Now, since we have all the technology in the world to get down to Dragon, this might just be seeing kind of the same game going forward from here. And that Idor was obviously the secret last boss of the game. Hacksaww going to have to take the time to recharge, to reload, refresh. Nasarius is going to have a chance to catch up because his ammo counts are looking fantastic. Hacksaww only looking for energy really at this point. Plenty of supers to take care of business when it comes to Ridley. It's gonna get to full tanks or incredibly close. Looks like it felt close was enough.
And Hacksaww does have a reserve or two with at least some energy in them. Powerbomb's a shame check over on Nasarius' side. Just that regular pack of missiles. And Ridley can still be a very tough fight. Fantoon's tough if you don't have the resources. Ridley's tough even if you got some pretty good stuff going on. So once we get past this boss fight, it's going to be a pretty mad dash for the end of the game. Pardon me. Ridley spitting hot fire. Swinging that tail like it ain't no thing. Hacksaww doing a great job conserving health by being very mindful of movement around the room. I believe that was enough. And there's the death of Ridley. A perfectly fine demonstration. And Nasarius has a bit of a health and ammo advantage already going in. Nasarius doesn't really need to be farming for anything unless missing too many supers is kind of the concern at hand. Filling all the way up just to feel comfortable. Got the extra E-tank, and all of those supers can afford to play a little bit faster and looser, and especially with Screw Attack, being able to avoid some of Ridley's damage. I think that would be a pretty confident position to be in. And hopefully nothing disastrous happens. So we got two different runners making different decisions in a very fast seed and kind of getting rewarded for their decisions either way. So I imagine if we have a chance to interview either of them, the interviews might sound kind of similar of what kind of seed was that? How fast? But another one I'm going to be able to encourage a lot of people to go take a look at the VOD afterwards. To just watch the madness unfold. Nasarius taking down Ridley with really no problem at all. Are we going to see the Ridley check? Did we already? I might have missed it. The item behind Ridley, just some supers. Sort of a rare time when, like, what was there going to be? If there had been Spazer, that would have been primo stuff. And Hacksaww, you gotta take it easy. Take it a little bit easy. You're getting a little bit beat up. Nasarius gonna be able to blast through that room on the way back as well. Gonna catch up a little bit with that Screw Attack. Hacksaww opting to go down to the Fire Fleas as well. He's probably gonna be really stoked to find this E-tank. So he's not going to be in quite nearly as much danger when it comes to the Three Musketeers. Ow, I kicked my desk. That hurt. Hacksaww got to be making some jumps up. Nasarius, is that a map check? Maybe just a accidental button. I know how that is. Hacksaww not even checking inside jail. We'll see if there's a check at the front, or if Hacksaw's just committed. Hacksaww is just committed. This is just as fast as you can. My prediction at this point is that Hacksaw's thought process is either I'm really ahead, so I should really push for it, or my opponent has been doing kind of the same thing and is probably on the same pace. So sort of half right in both regards, kinda. Nasarius doing the jail check. Just some missiles. Wave beam, the only kind of useful thing still out there. Spazer and X-ray, the only other two items that can be found. Some power bombs at the front of jail. And if Hacksaww keeps up the tradition, we're not going to see Speedway, we're not going to see Bubble Mountain stuff at all. We're just going to see him hop straight down to Froggo Speedway. Nasarius opting for another energy tank. That'll be a pretty healthy life total right there. Got a bit of reserve going on as well. Hacksaw's making the more ambitious play at this point. And it'll take some kind of terrible thing happening for it to really go sideways. We will see, though. We shall see. Hacksaw's going to have a bit of trouble, just a smidge of trouble, maneuvering around Meridia quickly without the use of space jump. Nasarius going for wave beam area. Some more regular missiles hanging out. Might have been a little bit funny to see with a bit more trolly of there's just power bombs everywhere, but we've seen a pretty even spread of Almo. Alright, Hacksaw's got to figure out how to move optimally without having access to space jump, and there's a lot of open space in a lot of places down in Meridia. Most definitely it was intentional to kind of highlight that once you've picked up space jump, it's a lot easier to kind of make your way around the place. Sort of a case of it being rather evident what the designers intended. Good job, designers. Quick hop down. We're just making a beeline to Dre. I can't say I'm surprised. Hacksaww not even taking the save. Just going to be hopping up that wall. At the bottom of speed booster area, just some more ammo. Just some more E. It looks like Nasarius not always terribly confident in not taking damage. If you got to play it a little bit cautious, that's what you do. You know? You bank those E-tanks. You play it however you feel comfortable. No need to bang your head against a wall by having to reset or die too many times. Great stuff. Great stuff. Batoon fight with charged plasma. Gonna be pretty easy work. There's the death right there. Nasarius going a little bit more of a tour of Upper Norfair for some extra items. If Hacksaww keeps on this pace and doesn't encounter something too terribly challenging, then the more ambitious play might be exactly the right way to go. More supers, and we do find the X-ray scope in a very interesting place. So I think we're down to two items that we just don't know where they are. Wave and Spazer. Those will be the only things that we get to be on the lookout for in the credits. Hopefully, we'll get to see Nasarius make use of that microwave beam a couple of times in the upcoming Meridia segment. Fantastic. So even when these two players sort of converge on where they're going and what they're doing, they get to go about it in slightly different ways. A precious check. It's just some more supers going on there. A wave beam, the absence of wave beam, I should say, is going to make the Zeb skip slightly more involved, since you can't just shoot down through the ground, but I doubt that will be too much of a problem for either of these runners when it comes down to it. Whew. I'm floored. My goodness. Hacksaww gonna have to take a bit of extra time. Looks like it's just opting for the grapple strategy just to get things over with, and that's the perfectly fine move in my book. Getting a little parched. If you're parched out there, remember to have some of your water. Just some supers at Main Street. Hacksaww getting the grapple beam lined up. That'll be the end of Dre, and that will be the play directly to Turian. So my guess at this point is that Nasarius is used to playing a little bit more conservatively. Even grabbing all of these items early on doesn't translate immediately into playing a different play style, and that's perfectly fine. I'd be in the same position. Frivolous Bliss. First time you've heard me on comms. I've only done it a few times at this point. and it's like it's a fun, exciting thing to do, and I'm glad to be here. We're taking some inverted sort of trip through Meridia. Another time to, I'll even pop them into the chat, I think, if I'm allowed. No? Okay, there it is. Definitely follow these runners. Definitely go check them out. They're both fantastic. And I think this is a great display, because if we get to a second game and it's much more trolly, Nasarius's methods might end up being the key. So that'll be interesting. And also, big shout outs to Redemption behind the scenes, putting everything together, making everything work. And big shout outs to Fate for clicking them buttons, keeping us all up to date. Oh, I'll drop the links in there. We all took turns at it. Very nice, very nice. Like every time I've said it before, somebody's already kind of gotten around to it. So, the first time I was doing commentating, I noticed that somebody was always just kind of on it, like I'll just drop it in the chat. So I didn't want to do it, but I think earlier I said it and the links didn't come up. So it's like, is somebody supposed to do this? Anyway, I digress. We're seeing Nasarius's quite possibly a bit more conservative style, doing a bit more farming for supers. Just to have the supers, I think. Hacksaww, only having 2 supers going into that room can be kind of twiggy, because you got to make sure to hit the right spot on that gate. I get really paranoid when I go in that room. So I always line up my shot, and I take 3 actual full seconds to make sure I'm pointing at the right thing. Pardon me. Pardon me again. Getting a little congested today. Is anyone else? It's been kind of rainy where I am. Anyway, Hacksaww taking that save and the reload. Nasarius getting into the Dre fight. And this should be a pretty short affair. I imagine we'll be seeing Microwave Beam again. Possibly, maybe. That was weird. Just was rain. Suddenly. March. We've had all kinds of weather over here on the West Coast. Back to the action, though. Hacksaww making that way downtown, walking fast. Accidentally picking up the power bomb because we didn't check that item earlier. Because Hacksaww was his own person today. So I'll just be blasting through these pirates. Nasarius also opting for the grappling beam strategy. And I'm really keenly interested in, if anybody knows the answer to this, if the microwave or the grappling beam is particularly faster or slower than the other. I know the grappling beam strategy is pretty dang fast. You just got to wait for the motions to catch up. So if you can get the fast one, I imagine it's faster. That kind of sounded really redundant when I said it out loud. It sounded better in my head. Don't worry. Hacksaww taking care of business with some Metroids. We're on the home stretch. See another pack of super missiles behind Dre. I just realized that I didn't notice how Hacksaww got out of the Dre room. It was probably just a gravity jump, because we know Hacksaww can do that. Regardless, Hacksaww did get out. Well, accidentally getting tagged by another Metroid. Trying to bomb out of it. This is a tenacious Metroid, if I could say so. Secret boss. Secret boss, everyone. This is why it's called Metroid. This is why it's called Super Metroid. Yes. Tilly tells me microwave is faster if you just have everything all set. So if you've got wave as well, I imagine, because it still does add some more damage. Interesting stuff. Nice information to have. You never know when the little random factoid that somebody mentioned to you or that you came across is going to be clutch in one of your races. I had that exact experience last weekend because somebody had just mentioned to me the check you can do with Speed Booster in Morfair without Varia. And I'm pretty sure if I hadn't specifically been told that, I wouldn't have thought of it. So my day would have gone very differently. Hacksaww looking left at the baby. Pretty low on life, so it was going to be a short affair, kind of no matter what. And Nasarius getting to the top of Red Tower. Going to be going up, getting that save, going down to Turian. This is still a pretty narrow margin. Both players are going to be in Turian at the same time. So the game's not far apart by any stretch, but I believe the distance we've seen between these two players is really due to what they feel comfortable with while they play. We did see some extra checks from Nasarius that Hacksaww outright just blasted right by. Now, this game can get more tricky than you realize in a lot of circumstances. You can't really afford to underestimate anything. I also save a lot. Hacksaww not taking the save. Hacksaww not even going to try Zeb Skip. Is just going to very blatantly brute force his way of their brain by burning both supers. And there still should be plenty of projectiles to break the glass and start phase 2. And having access to charge, and especially with plasma, that stacks on a lot of damage. Swapping over to the supers. There's the beginning of MB2. This won't go quite as fast with the absence of Wave Beam. But I do not believe we are in danger of soft-locking the game. Hacksaww is just going to have to be slightly careful about taking too much damage, since this is going to take a little bit longer. And Hacksaww making sure to keep distance. He's timing all of his jumps very well, is very aware of what kinds of attacks he might be seeing. Nasarius is starting to take care of those Metroids on the way in. A healthy dose of super missiles. The ketchup starts getting thrown across the room. Food fight! Hacksaww having just enough reserve energy to kind of help things out. That might have been a little bit scary. Whew. Probably the sweatingest moment of the run right there, with Hacksaww getting a little bit low on health, but having access to those reserves. The good old Kappa tanks, the good old trash cannons. They're so bagged on all the time, but they just really came in handy right there. And Hacksaww going to be going into phase 3. Well, Nasarius inspects some fine art and destroys some fine art. Taking that intentional damage to get the baby going. It seems a little bit likely at this point that Hacksaww will be getting out of the Mother Brain room before Nasarius gets into it, so we won't quite see that situation coming up again, which we saw in the last race. Holy goodness. With 2 players in the Mother Brain fight at the same time. Doesn't get much closer than that. Nasarius indeed taking the time to face right. Saving that, I think it's 3 or 4 frames, because there aren't those 3 or 4 frames of animation for Samus. I believe that's how the story goes. Oh, baby Metroid, no. So Nasarius definitely has the ammo to just do the brute force strategy as well. I wonder if we'll see a Zeb Skip anyway. pretty confident that the sub skip is faster if you nail it the first time, no matter what. Red telling the story of Arizona where they don't have daylight savings time anymore, which is just fun facts. Nasarius indeed going for Zeb Skip, nailing it the first time. So that is actually a time saver right there. A little bit closer. We're just a hair away from standing in the same room. This one's been wild. We went from a nail biter of like a slightly trolly seed earlier, of having to find just the right item in just the right place, to kind of being handed the game on a silver platter and seeing what these players can do with it. Yeah, Hacksaww missing that jump. This room is so annoying. Getting all the way to the bottom. I did that last time as well. These pirates always get you. They always snipe you when you're not expecting it. These wall jumps are a lot harder because the walls are moving. Nasarius. Oh, it doesn't have charge beam. That's right. Nasarius did skip that, but having that many supers, okay. So everything's kind of crystallizing in my mind now that Nasarius didn't find charge, so finding all that extra ammo was kind of important. I got you now. See, I'm thinking. It's just that unfortunate not checking of the front of Gauntlet. So how much can you really assume that the game is going to keep on giving to you? And the answer is, I mean, it gives you everything. Apparently. So, once we get into the credits here in a bit, I think the only things we're going to be on the lookout for are going to be Wave Beam and Spacer. Just interesting talking points we can kind of come up with. A jump to the ship. Done. Nasarius getting into phase 3 of Mother Brain. Easy peasy. Hacksaww has finished. First place. GG's to him. An official time of 57:18. So we've seen a sub-hour run in the mouse bracket. Which I can tell you, I have not finished the game in under an hour. I might have had a chance with this kind of scene. But that's sort of incredible. Where did Nasarius find X-ray? I think we had the answer down there. Yeah. It's top left of Bubble Mountain not in the item location, but the small platform right in front of it. Exactly. An in-game time of 41 minutes for Hacksaww. I know we don't have another race butting right up against us, so I don't know if we're going to try to get Hacksaww in here to say a few words on this ridiculous fiasco, or if Hacksaww even wants to. I sure hope he does, because I'm going to start a USA chant when he comes in. Nasarius taking care of Mother Brain. Easy as pie. So we'll be seeing a close finish. I see him. He's coming. Wait, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the thing. Come on. Ho! USA! USA! I was waiting for it. I saw you coming.
Oh, yeah.
GG's. First and foremost, Hacksaww. Well done. Immediately, what did you think of that seed?
Dude, that was about as free as they get right there. I don't know what else to say.
We were all pretty beside ourselves with what is going on. Like, I encourage you, if you have the time at some point, to go back and watch, because you and Nasarius actually went different ways, but both of you found different sections of stuff at the same time. So even though you kind of went in opposite directions, you both ended up with a lot of stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and check it out, because I see he has space jump. I never found that.
Yeah, it was space jump was Spospo. The item below there. It was like a little surprised that you skipped out on that one. And
Yeah.
what else? Screw attack was It's escaping me right. Oh, it was that ice, which Nasarius ran over to check on. The only things we didn't know: Wave Beam was in. This is a lava room. Which one's that? And Spacer was at the Meridia Reserve Tank. Okay, those were the only 2 items that we didn't account for at all along the way. But it was crazy. Another GG's to Nasarius, finishing up with an official time just over an hour, it looks like. And I was saying to everyone that we have a mouse game where there's a sub-hour finish, which I'm not sure I've ever done. So that was crazy.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been sub-hour if it wasn't that free, I promise.
That's fair enough, but what was it? We're trying to get a hold of Nasarius also joining us. GG's to Nasarius. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yo, GG's, man.
GG.
Let's get the thoughts from Nasarius right away too. What did you think about that particular seed?
I was really happy with that. I thought I made the right choices and I played pretty well.
It did. You both did excellently at it. I was telling Hacksaww just a second ago that the 2 of you decided to go in very different directions pretty early on, but you both ended up kind of finding the other half of stuff because what was it? Nasarius, you went down through Brinstar, found Space Jump and everything like that. Hacksaww had ended up going up through the tower and then over to Wreck Ship, so finding Speed Booster and Varia really quickly. And then you just kind of traded sides for a bit and kind of found mostly the same things. So even though you made really distinctly different decisions, neither of you was really punished or rewarded more or less. It was really interesting to watch.
Huh. But we both went up Red Tower, right?
I never even made it to Red Tower. I took the ceiling missiles to Bomb Chorizo, and then I went down the top of Red Tower.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
And then straight over to Fantoon.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, if either of you gets a chance to watch that vid back to see like you going in different directions and how it ended up, that was still a really close game. You were almost in the Mother Brain room at exactly the same time. Just as Hacksaww was getting right out and Nasarius is getting right in. That's how close you guys were to each other.
Okay.
I think the one key player here was probably the find of Charge Beam, which was at the front of Gauntlet.
Oh.
So everything in this seed was just kind of being handed out. So Nasarius, you had to slow down a little bit to find a little bit of extra ammo, I think, to take care of business when going into Turian.
I like to play it kind of safe. I probably could have skipped a few checks and stayed at like 70 super missiles, but I don't feel super comfortable.
I'm the same way. I have the same play style of doing things pretty methodically and trying not to overestimate myself in any situation. So
yeah,
I totally get that. And still within minutes of each other. So fantastic race, fantastic run. I'm very looking forward to your next seed, which is almost guaranteed by the forces of the universe to be as trolly as they come.
Yeah, it's going to have to be after this. I mean, it's got to be saving something for us.
I would certainly think so. So I went myself over to the schedule to make sure I knew when your next matchup was going to be, because I got to be there for that. So I'm going to be tuning in, and I think everyone else should here as well.
Yeah,
I can't even like think of things to ask because they're like the challenging stuff is usually like the item placements, but both of you did a fantastic job with your movement and your
I think
technology in general. Yeah.
If either of us had gone down Red Tower, that would be a disaster. But I think it was pretty clear. You go Fantoon first by the items you got.
I think so too. I think we were kind of pushed in the right directions at the right times.
Yeah, because we had grapple and speed that early. It was just
gravity.
And
gravity
suit as well. Yeah, both of you going straight up to Billy Mays finding gravity suit that early. The chat was already blowing up at that point, and then just every subsequent item that we found, everyone was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, when I found charging Gauntlet, I just about died. I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
It was a crazy one.
But I was like, "Okay, don't pick up too many supers. Don't pick up too many supers." And I kept picking up supers and yelling at myself every time.
Did you find did you find that your mentality sort of hiccuped anywhere along the way? It seemed like you were just straightforward, going towards the things you were being led towards. Was there any time where you were like, something's got to be amiss with this?
I'm pretty much autopilot. If I'm like not, if it's not too confusing, I'm just going and making the checks I know to make.
Yeah, that was an autopilot scene. 100%. I mean, like I say, the only autopilot thing that got me was, ooh, supers, go get them. And that, I'm not gonna lie, when I was running down to Mother Brain and I picked up those power bombs, I was like, man, why did that have to stop?
I commented on that too, because it's like, oh, Hacksaww was his own person today, so we didn't actually check this item yet.
No, I did check it. I checked it after the back of Gauntlet. I knew those power bombs were there.
Oh, you even took the peek? That just makes it a little bit extra funny, maybe. But all right. Again, fantastic job to both of you. Everyone in the audience out there, make sure to follow these fantastic runners. If someone wants to get those links in the chat right quick, I'll give another shout out to Red, to Fate. My name is Zerolane. It's been a pleasure. It's been a hilarious time talking this one through. I had fun. Fantastic. Good luck to everyone who's racing in the future. Well done to both of you runners. We'll be checking you out tomorrow. I think we'll probably just call it an evening until a lot later on. We've got another match, but we don't got anything pressing right now. So looks like we're going to be doing a raid to Junie, which is going to be fantastic.
Junie got a June.
Junie got a June. So thanks again, Nasarius. Thanks again, Hacksaww. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
We will all see you next mission.
Thank you, guys.